I'd like to just give a special thank you today for all who have participated in this service. 10 days ago, we sat in staff meeting, and I said, I think I'd like Thanksgiving Sunday to be different. So we went to work, and this is where we are, and I am thankful. I have one last-minute addition. I came to work on Friday morning, and there was a hallway full of a table set, and I said, I want 5 pictures, and here they are. Valley Preschool is one of our ministries, and I'm thankful to Kazda and her team and for the work that they do. And I thought you ought to just see that celebration that happened on Friday morning. There's a biblical Thanksgiving story that I am often drawn to. In Luke 17, on the way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 men with leprosy approached him. Keeping their distance from him, they raised their voices and said, Jesus, Master, show us mercy. And when Jesus saw them, he said, Go, show yourself to the priests. And as they left, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw that he had been healed, returned and praised God with a loud voice. He fell on his face at Jesus' feet. An interesting little story. Lepers usually didn't gather in large groups. They had to keep distance from everyone. The fact that there were 10 of them meant that they had found companionship in the hardness of their lives. I would remind you this morning that we need each other on the journey through life. And as you have heard, there is great benefit in the people who invest in our lives and appreciate us and speak to us and share time with us. God is always calling us into community. We're told that these 10, they probably had heard about Jesus, but in this moment, when they saw him, they cried out to him, would you help us? Would you have mercy upon us? I'm told that leprosy takes your vocal cords away, and so the 10 of them probably did not make a very loud cry, but Jesus heard them. And Jesus came to them and said to them, Go, show yourselves to the priest. And they turned, and as they went, they began to experience healing. If you know anything about leprosy, it impacts the entirety of the body. And can you imagine walking down the pathway and suddenly your limbs begin to work better, your eyes, the scabs are on your body are gone. This is a moment of restoration and transformation. I wonder what went through their minds. I can go home. I've been isolated from my family. I can go see my wife and my kids. Maybe I ought to go on to the priest like Jesus said and show him, get the certificate that I could come back and show that I'm clean. I don't know what happened to them all, but I know what happened with one. He looked at what God had done, and he turned around, and he went back to Jesus, and he said in a loud voice, because his voice had been healed, he cried out, thanks be to God for your grace in my life. And then with his face in the dust, he fell at Jesus' feet. And Luke just simply says to us, there was one who said thank you. My challenge to you this week, I know there may be miles to travel. There are meals to cook, football games to watch, games to play, puzzles to do. All kinds of good things can happen in this week, and I hope you experience the joy of all of them. But would you be like the one? Would you on purpose this week just begin to look at the people and the circumstances and the activities of your life and give thanksgiving because God is doing his good transforming work in our lives? So as you make your plans, as you make your journeys, don't forget your God. Let it be more than just a moment before you take that Thanksgiving meal, but let it be thanks living all week, reaching out to be the light and love of Jesus. We're going to close with a hymn written in a challenging period in human history, and yet the one who wrote it was ministering to people in the midst of the plague with all kinds of deaths surrounding, and yet in the midst of it all found ways to give thanks to God. Ponder the words that we will sing, and I would invite you to join me in standing as we sing it together.